Hello and welcome to Boozy Book Reports, a simple podcast where we revisit childhood classics while drinking copious amounts of alcohol. We're your hosts, Beth
and Sam.
And this month we're reporting on the Glass Menagerie by Tennessee Williams, first premiered in 1944. I feel like I said that weird.
You said it like you were maybe like a mid-Atlantic, like, today we're reading a play by Tennessee Williams. He's from the South, and we will, it's about a glass menagerie. You can buy one of these at Woodworth's.
Dying. Well, I was super excited to read this because this was one of my picks because I remember reading and watching this like sophomore year of high school.
Which version did you watch?
I watched the 1987-ish version by
This is the John Malkovich one, right?
Yes.
Okay, I downloaded it because it's on free. It's on free. It's on free.
It's on free.
It's on free on YouTube. But it was on YouTube. But I ended up just reading because I thought, oh, maybe it'll be faster to watch it. It was not.
So here's the thing. I actually listened to this book. I didn't read it with my eyeballs.
Oh.
I listened to the BBC had an amazing rendition of this on Spotify.
Oh.
As one of their quote unquote audiobooks, but it was like listening to the play.
Okay.
And it was fabulous. So well done. Loved it. I'll put the link in the show notes because I think everybody should take part in it because it was so good.
We used to do these the like sort of audio plays or whatever in like radio play basically when I was in high school, and I remember we listened to a radio play version of Othello, and they can be very good.
So good.
Yeah.
Like I was literally listening to this while I was like making like a crock pot meal and like cleaning and stuff. And it went by like nothing.
Yeah.
It went so fast. And it was just like, I felt like I was in it, which I loved.
Yeah. That's why I ended up downloading the movie because I wanted to sort of hear like the inflection with which they say these things,
And that specific version, it's the girl from Indiana Jones plays the sister.
Okay.
And she does such a phenomenal job that like, as I was listening to this and like, I did skim a little bit because it is a play.
Yeah.
So if you're not used to reading a play, it looks very different. It is laid out with stage direction and cues and just different things.
For me helps, but we also read a lot of plays. Did you read a lot of plays in high school?
Only this one, I think. So, but again, watching the movie, it invokes something in me. I mean, I have like a crystal clear like memory of sitting in class. I was in like the third row over, kind of in the back behind this guy that was this nice Mormon kid, and we're watching this movie, and it was really moving me. So it was fun to like experience it again as an adult.
We never did this one, but we did Streetcar Named Desire.
Oh yeah.
So then we saw the Marlon Brando. It was like Marlon Brando was the heart of basically my like high school literature career because he also was in East of Eden.
Oh yeah.
And so, but yeah, we did Streetcar Named Desire by Tennessee Williams instead.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I found out one fun fact. I didn't do a deep dive on this Tennessee, but which is such a great name, but found out that this came out around the age of 33 is when he actually like hit it big, which I thought was kind of like, that's still really young, but it's also not in some ways, especially back in that day.
Maybe it's just, the cocktails speaking, but like, I don't feel that young and I am just slightly older, just a smidge older than 33.
He became famous with the success of this play.
Yeah.
So this is what really like threw him in. And then he has, again, a litany of other things like Streetcar Named Desire,
Vieux Carré,
Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, Sweet Bird of Youth, and The Night of the Iguana. So
nice.
It's good. But before we get into all the juicy details of this story, which I just want to remind people, we are not here for like in-depth literary commentary, okay?
Yeah.
You're coming for the booze and maybe the snark and maybe a little sass. A little jokey joke and some walks down memory lane. I just want to say that because the work is so famous and wonderful, and like people have analyzed it. And if you're a student that's looking for like help because you have a test tomorrow, this ain't the podcast for you.
No, I thought about reading like a little bit of literary analysis about it, and then I didn't.
Yeah,
so this is hot takes.
I also didn't even like read because they have like a really nice foreword on this, and then
I read the foreword.
Of course you did.
I love a footnote and I love a foreword.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Okay. Before we get into
it was really interesting, Beth.
Of course it was. Okay. What are we drinking tonight? You made two really cute cocktails.
Yeah, so there's a reason I mentioned Vieux Carré as a play that Tennessee Williams wrote. So Vieux Carré means old square in French. We made a kind of a little bit of a riff on one. It's a Fall Vieux Carré. So it's sort of a I thought it was, the one of the main characters in the play is very like, I am of the old South, and it was Southern hospitality. And I do declare, thank you for coming over, Mr. Jim. And so I thought this was sort of a bougie little Southern cocktail. It's sort of affiliated with New Orleans, but it felt sort of the right vibe of like old South. Not quite like antebellum, because the heck with that stuff. But no. Like,
not in this day.
No. But this is I thought this would be kind of nice.
As you're making though, there's like 57 liquors in here.
Yeah, it's a booze heavy drink. So it's you're gonna hate it. I mean, not to like ruin, not spoiler alert. But it's so it's got Benedictine, which is sort of a honeyish liqueur. It has rye. What makes it fall is normally it has cognac, but we use calvados, which is like a apple brandy. And it uses some bitters, so Peychauds, and then we actually put in some cardamon bitters, so it'll have like a nice warm fall flavor, hopefully. Cheers. Delicious.
Tastes like cough medicine.
I love it.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh, I kind of like that. The calvados was nice in it.
Okay. I feel like I just drank some Robitussin.
Yeah, it's a pretty boozy drink.
Yeah. Again, I don't have a palate for this.
I know you don't.
There's literally no sugar in it, except for this maraschino cheese.
No. Calvados is sweet.
I don't taste any sweetness.
Do you not?
No.
Oh, man.
It's I feel it going down my esophagus. I feel it already around my heart. It's great.
A nice, on a cool fall day where you're feeling a little dreary, have one of these little bad boys.
Oh my gosh.
Man.
Have to take a nap.
Correct.
Yes.
That's okay. Didn't say you couldn't. I didn't say this was like a let's go bump on the night out. Like this is a chill.
This feels like almost like a after work kind of cocktail.
Oh, 100%.
Like this is very much like I'm at home with some slippers on, probably they're plaid.
Yeah.
Maybe in a smoking jacket.
A little broody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I won't say it's bad.
That
just
is actually
not my style.
An improvement.
Yeah. My palate is changing. I'm evolving.
You're growing. I'm so proud of you.
Okay. Is this other one sweet?
Yeah, this one's going to be real sweet. So this one we're calling this one the vanilla life. So that related to the fact that, Tom does not want to live the vanilla, boring, life of his forefathers where not his father's kind of deadbeat, but, that where you go to work and you just support your family. He wants to go adventure. So this is a vanilla life. So we used actually Portland syrups, makes these vanilla rooibos syrup.
Oh my gosh, it smells freaking amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be very vanilla-y. So rooibos is a tea from Africa, and it's delicious. It's like a really nice sweet tea.
Oh my gosh. Starbucks used to have a vanilla rooibos tea.
Yeah.
Years ago.
Tazo.
I was like obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And then they got rid of it.
This is a cocktail. So we use that. We use vanilla vodka, a little scotch of lemon, and and some club soda to give it some bubbles. So Go ahead and enjoy.
Yummy.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's incredible.
That's
also
good.
like you can't taste anything. That's delicious.
Yeah, there's 2 ounces of alcohol in that, so be careful. You got the whole thing, basically.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
I have to work tomorrow.
Don't we all?
That is lovely.
Yeah.
It is so good. Oh my gosh.
So we bought the vanilla syrup. I bought the vanilla rooibos syrup, again, from Portland Syrups. But you could make your own tea concentrate just by like making tea and like basically reducing it and putting in some vanilla extract and some sugar to make like a syrup. So this is something you could absolutely do on your own, or even like infuse, put in one of the rooibos tea bags in your vanilla vodka and like infuse it to get that like nice flavor. But it's like so smooth.
So good. It's such a brunch drink.
Yeah.
Like I wish I had French toast right now. Like it's such a brunch drink.
That's good.
So that was really good. That's one of your best drinks ever, Sam.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Portland Syrups. But like,
that's like amazing. Well, you put it all together, so it's delicious.
This was an impulse buy. I bought this up at a tiny little distillery up in Roslyn, Washington.
Okay, where they shot the show
Northern
Exposure, which most people have forgotten about,
except my parents who are still in love with that show. So that's it's a nice little too. That one was nice.
I feel like this helps with indigestion. I know that that's not a thing.
No,
but it feels like it.
I just got back from a ladies' weekend, which Beth knows, that also had quite a bit of imbibing.
Yeah, we're gonna see if we make it.
Yeah, I'm gonna die. This is really helping with my heartburn.
Yeah, it's actually like so refreshing.
Yeah.
Again, I'm like shocked. I never like cocktails really.
No, this one's good. I think
So
there's
good.
a little bit of a movement for like tea cocktails. I think that I agree.
Yeah, this was perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't have a back of the book because this technically isn't a book.
No.
It's a legit play. So
We're actually just going to act the whole thing out. No, I'm just kidding.
get ready.
I will be playing Tom.
Yes, we're trying to get a Webby Award this year. Yeah.
Coming for you.
I just have to say, like, just starting off, like, I had tears in the back of my eyes for a lot of this one. Not for, like, I wasn't sad, but his writing, I forgot. Like, his writing is incredible. And especially with everything that's happening right now, it's such a human theme that so much of it felt like kind of the angst that people have and just like what it is to be a woman and what is your role when you don't fit into the stereotype. And it was so lovely.
Yeah. Or like I felt a sort of a kinship with Tom. Like he wants to go out and live his life and like do all these things. And he has this constant expectation that he's going to stay and support the family.
Yeah.
And he's, he has dreams that he wants to accomplish.
And and a lot of responsibilities.
Yeah. I know one of the things that you said you didn't feel tears because you were sad, but this is a very sad play.
It's very sad.
Yeah.
But it's like layers of sadness. I feel like sad is the wrong version of sad. Like I feel like there's a different word that would be more encapsulating what I felt, but I don't have it yet. Maybe after I drink half this cocktail. But
no.
So the play starts off and they kind of lay out the play. Tom is our narrator. He's the son of this family of, there's 3 in the family, a Southern Belle mom who just wants the best for her family, but she's been left by this man.
Yeah. But she still sort of worships him. They like the opening scene is opening onto this like giant painting that they keep in their house of him smiling.
Mm-hmm.
So like even though the father is not present, he is very
present.
Yeah.
Very present. And so then there's Tom who's, working in a factory, warehouse, docks. I can't remember exactly the place, but it's not something glamorous that he wants to be doing.
No, he wants to be a merchant marine.
And then we have the sister who's a little bit older than him. She's a couple years older and her name's Laura. And she's very, very shy.
Yeah.
She, looking at some of the things she's interested in, how she relates to the world, I would say she's probably neurodiverse in some capacity.
Yeah. Also potentially has some social anxiety.
And then she also has a physical disability.
Yeah, she has like a small limp because of an
her uneven
illness.
leg or something too. And then it's made mention too, she's had illnesses too in her life. So
yeah. But even in the stage direction, they actually say very clearly like you can suggest this, but do not draw attention to it because it's honestly that note. It's very slight.
It's very subtle, but I can only imagine in that era, any difference seems like it would have been magnified, even if and part of it too is like she magnifies it within herself, with most of us do, right? When we have something, it's just like when you have like a zit on your forehead. All you think about it. And like, oh my gosh, everybody just thinks I'm a zit girl.
Yeah.
And it's just like, my life is over.
Yeah.
It's very taken by like the opening scenes of this where it's like the daughter's supposed to be enrolled in business school.
Yeah.
And the mother finds out that she dropped out.
And reveals in a very dramatic fashion.
Very dramatic. Like
that like deception.
Like guilt tripping her and like this was $50.
Yeah. I couldn't even go to the Daughters of the American Revolution meeting because I was so, incensed.
Yeah. And she's just kind of like, what are you going to do now? Like she's like, your only option is to get married.
Yeah.
Because like you don't have a skill set.
That was something that really hit, I think, reading this book is that like everything was related to how they talk a little bit about how the mother is a sort of a figure to be pitied in that she lives in a different time in some sense. She's still, there's one of the opening scenes is she's recalling about having 17 gentlemen callers that came and they all sat on her veranda and she could have married all of these very successful men, but she married the deadbeat. But she doesn't say that like in a way that's I regret. It's very much like, and I married your father.
Yeah, she's very hoity-toity. Yeah. Well, and I loved it too because she like would name all of them. Like she just had such a vivid.
Yeah. And he's now working as a real estate agent and he owns half of Mobile, Alabama.
I loved it when she's like, and the one guy died and he had a picture of me in his wallet.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, ma'am.
I did like that. The kids were like, so everyone you ever courted was dead.
So, mom. Go ahead.
But she's like living in a different time. But to some extent, everything is related as a woman to either your productivity or your beauty. Those are the only options for Laura.
That's all you get. And it's kind of sad. And honestly, as I was reading it, it made me think of kind of some of the young girls I see that are trying to just like really embrace trad life in such a way that I'm like, are you protected? Are you safe?
Yeah.
Is this like, do you realize what this really looks like or has looked like in the past? And like the fact that you have an option to choose to do that is great.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I think that's actually something that's really interesting because like Amanda, the mother, really does push this narrative that really there are two options. You can go to business school or you can get married. Those are your options as a woman. There's nothing else. But part of the reason she sees that is because she basically relies on Tom and Laura to support her. Mm-hmm. Because she herself has chosen those lives. And she like
didn't work out.
A point at which maybe she's selling like magazines.
Oh yeah, she's selling magazines and like guilt tripping people into buying them. And,
so it's okay. So she's MLM. She's she's a girl
she's
boss.
She's a boss babe.
Amanda's just being her best girl boss. But she really does rely on Tom and Laura to try to support her.
Not only financially, but also emotionally, which let's not even go there. But I feel like, when we see Tom, it's like this man is working all the time.
Yeah.
And his mom is just getting on him all the time because he just wants to leave. Like
he goes to the movies.
He goes to the movies
as a
every
form
day.
Of escapism.
Which I totally get because like if I need to numb the pain, I got a great movie on. I got TikTok on. Yeah. Sometimes I'm paying Disney Dreamlight Valley. I need something. And
I read a lot of smut.
Yes, you do.
like, this like fairy lady is really escaping.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But I can't even imagine. Actually, I can. So when I was in my like early 30s, mm-hmm. I had lived overseas. I'd come home. I didn't have a job. I have 6 months where I was living at home. I had no money. I'd run through all my savings. I was trying to find a job and figure out what was next. And, like when you're trying to find a job and figure out what's next, there's so much pressure. And it's not just like, it wasn't just easy to fall into something.
Yeah.
And I remember I had zero funds and I'd have to ask my mom and dad for money as a 30-year-old because I didn't want to like obviously charge credit cards and stuff. And my dad was a little bit sick at that time too. So I was like starting to help do some caretaking for my family. And I would do that all day and I just would want to escape. And like once a week, I would have a friend that would come and like pick me up and we go to a movie or we just go hang out. Yeah. And I'd get like $20 a week to like fun money.
Yeah.
But that it was like, anyway, I feel for this when you're working so hard and taking care of other people and you just are like, when is it my turn?
Yeah.
When is it my turn?
Yeah. That's basically what Tom's whole thing is like, and like Amanda's, I really dislike Amanda. Mm-hmm. Like, I think that the Tennessee Williams like description of her is sort of, I think, quite frankly quite generous. She just constantly hounds him and about you need to be less selfish. And I mean maybe this is like a little bit of a personal issue, but like he is doing everything she asks and it's not enough because he occasionally goes to the movies, drinks a little bourbon and watches a show.
And smokes cigarettes. She got on him for smoking.
Yeah.
She's like 15 cents a pack and you go through this many a week and you need to do that. What's the math on that, son?
Yeah. Nicotine's an upper, baby. That's how he gets his shit done. Don't go smoke. But don't do this.
I didn't know better than that day.
Yeah, I feel
it. It's the 40s.
Yeah,
it was the 40s. It was probably recommended by doctors still at that time.
They were like, oh, you got to work in the factory a lot?
Yeah.
Have you considered chain smoking?
But that whole relationship was hard because you could just I could feel on the tip of his tongue how he just wanted to say all the things.
Yes. And he didn't.
He didn't. And
until the end.
Yeah.
A little bit.
But not like to like scorched earth.
Yeah, no. 100%.
So anyway.
Yeah. And she just doesn't have anything. She needs she should consider getting a job, but or a hobby.
Get a hobby.
Get a hobby. Other than the Daughters of the American Revolution.
Oh my gosh.
She's constantly hounding on him, and then she's also constantly hounding on Laura about you need to be prettier, you need to do these things, you need to. I don't know. She puts a lot of pressure on her daughter, and her daughter honestly just wants to sit around and clean her tiny glass animals.
Yes, which I appreciate because the year 1991, I was at our local mall, and in the middle they had these like kiosks, and they had a glass blowing kiosk where they would blow you a glass little something.
Yeah.
And I didn't get an animal, but I got a tiny little vase that had a tiny little like blue rose in it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was the most dainty, beautiful thing I'd ever owned in my 9-year-old life.
Oh, I have a tiny like perfume bottle with like the little pink with like little stopper.
Yeah.
And it was a gift from actually one of my college roommates, and he was a groomsman in our wedding. And it was like seriously the prettiest, most dainty, beautiful thing I'd ever had.
Well, I don't know if this is true or not to this person because I don't know Laura as a person. But there's something when you don't feel delicate and beautiful that when you surround yourself with delicate and beautiful things, it can make you feel different.
So I've always been kind of a beefy, burly lady. And I mean, did engineering. I did all these like work in a pretty like a non-traditional field for women. But like occasionally, having these like, even as a kid, having these like little pretty glass delicate things did make me feel very feminine in a way that like my everyday life did not. And I didn't want to feel, I'm not a person that's like hyper, hyper feminine, but like occasionally I want to feel pretty.
Yeah.
And a little like dainty piece of jewelry or a little like, a tea set or something like we had,
like pinkies up. Yes.
Yeah. We had friends that had these like tiny little tea sets, and I always felt so damn cute with them. And, obviously like in real life, I would not do that.
Yeah. But there's something to that.
Yeah.
But
this is what the kicker, I mean, I think about the whole discussion about like Laura's flaws and Laura's like, Tom, I think is he's doing his best, but even nobody gives Laura a lot of, sort of credit for her abilities. I mean, granted, she's really struggling, but instead of saying like, why are you struggling? They're just sort of like, well, Laura's different. She's not like the other girls. She doesn't like dances or talking to humans. She likes to clean her tiny glass animals.
Something that was interesting though, because when the mom confronts her about not going to school, Laura details her days. Yeah. And she is doing things.
Interesting things.
Very interesting things.
Yeah.
They're just not the things. She's not like other girls. Like she's just she's going to the botanical gardens and looking at the zoo or
she goes to the art museum.
Yeah. It's just she's just different. She's just different. She has different priorities, and the things that excite her are different.
Yeah. It's not business school. And she really does deal with like a physiologically like, sort of like damaging version of anxiety.
The other thing too, though, is that like they make mention of the fact of like as she's going out of the house to do something, she has to climb downstairs and she like trips and falls a little bit. And just like, again, navigating a world that at that time definitely didn't consider anybody that had any difference. And again, not that you could tell, but you could tell, you know what I mean? Like there's those little moments that just were like, life is just maybe a half an inch harder for her because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. I often felt in a lot of the discussions, so, there's quite a few discussions between Amanda, the mother, and Tom about what to do with Laura. And I think Amanda's incredibly patronizing towards Laura. And like, I don't think she really sees either of her children as like independent people with like ideals and dreams and stuff, just as it really is extensions of herself. But Tom does see Laura's potential, and he does see the beauty in Laura, but he also still is like a bit hobbled by the fact he's like, well, there's a point where they're talking. Eventually he organizes a gentleman caller to come over and talk to Laura, and when they're talking about the possibility of this, he keeps kind of saying like, well, Mom, she's kind of, she's got disabilities, and she's kind of weird. And so he cares about her, but he still also is sort of, instead of seeing her differences as like their own unique things, he really does still uphold in some ways her view too, that like there's something wrong with Laura to the point where like she can't function. But like, so I think in some sense what I felt like coming out of a lot of the arguments between Amanda and Tom was that Laura's really just collateral damage. She's just like an innocent bystander who's constantly catching strays. Like she's not they don't ever really, I mean, they talk to her a little bit, but
no, she's just
a tool.
She's just looking at her glass figures, listening to the old records in her own world. And he says that she lives in her own world. Yeah. They had a very interesting conversation where, because the mom again was like, I need you to go find a gentleman caller. Like we need to get your sister married.
Get her a boyfriend.
Bring someone from the factory or the docks, or I can't remember where it worked. Here, just we're going to get that happen. And again, he did. He brought up some stuff. And then I like, though, that he said, like, we don't always see those things because we love her so much. And I was like, that was interesting because I think the mother always says it, but it just made me think that he had a deeper connection to his sister.
Oh, I agree.
And of caring for her in a way that, like, the mom was not a part of, or was not, maybe not a part of, but just...
Neither of them give her enough credit, but Tom does see her as a human.
Yes.
And as an individual. And so he doesn't always appreciate her gifts, but he sees her gifts. Whereas Amanda is just constantly like, why can't she be more like me? I was good at this.
Which I loved it when she asked her daughter, like, did you ever love anyone? And she's like, well, I love this. She's like, I like this boy in high school named James, and he was wonderful, and he was in show choir and all these things. And she had like newspaper clippings of him, and she was so excited. And he called her a unique nickname because he misheard her.
Blue roses.
Yeah, because she had pleurosis or something.
Yeah,
Is that right?
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know what disease that is. Hopefully it's been eradicated, but who knows? Anyway, so brother finds some guy, and he goes, I love this because Tom to his mom is like, she's like, have you found someone yet? Blah, blah. He's like, yeah, I did. She's like, when is he coming? Tomorrow. Like, just blindsided her.
This felt like dealing a little bit with my brother in some sense. Was like, hey, can I bring somebody over for dinner? Yeah, when we were thinking, I don't know, in an hour. Like like it's kind of a guy. I don't know. It feels like a boy thing, but
it did feel a little like that.
But like he is. I mean, we can talk about the outcome of this, right? Which is that he brings a guy home. It turns out it's
the guy from high school that she loved,
and they connect.
Yes, they do, and in a big way.
Yeah,
and like so maybe we roll back a little bit.
Okay.
So guy comes over.
Yeah.
She's like, finds out his name and is petrified.
Yeah.
Will not even open the door.
Yeah, they like are constantly yelling like to go, Laura, go open the door. And she's like, nope.
Not going to do it. And so anyway, they get it together a little bit. It took a minute. They're having dinner and whatnot.
And his mom is putting on the full show. Amanda, again, she is Colonel Sanders Foghorn Leghorn. Like, I do declare.
Oh, gosh. And she had bought new clothes and a new rug and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And at the same time, Tom is telling his friend, like, yeah, I didn't pay the electric bill this month.
Yeah. Which factors in. I just kept thinking, have you ever seen the show Pose?
No.
There's a point where like, what's his face? Billy.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he's like, who did not pay the light bill? I like wrote it in the thing. Yeah.
So
like the power actually goes out.
The power actually goes out. So they have to now have dinner by candlelight.
Yeah,
and
romantic.
Very romantic. And then there's a moment where Laura and the suitor go off kind of by themselves, and they're having kind of a nice conversation, and they're connecting, and he's realizing that he did know her.
Yeah, and he actually kind of remembers her. She really remembers him.
Yes.
But
I mean, she literally brought out like a newspaper clipping of him.
I was like, this is you.
And he's like, oh my, you could tell he was very flattered and all of those things. And she takes this time to like show him her like glass little figurines that her mom calls the Glass Menagerie.
Yeah.
And her favorite one is a little unicorn.
Yes.
And she's like having him hold. She's like, it's very delicate, and like telling him exactly how to do it. And he's like, I don't think I should hold it. She's like, I'm going to trust you with this. And he sets it gently on the table, and you see into her world a little bit because the way she relates to the glass figures is not something a typical woman in her mid-20s would do. Yeah.
It's sort of like every so often you'll meet an older woman who has like a doll collection. And I do not. I can appreciate that as a thing. Dolls are a little creepy, but that's fine. But you'll meet a woman that has that, and you're like, well, okay, you got your own thing. Good for you, girl. But like back in the day, this might have been seen as like really weird, but he actually like
he goes with it.
Yeah, unfortunately
there's a little incident that happens. They're just sitting there by candlelight in the drawing room, not really, but essentially, and they can hear the music because there's like a little club just around the corner, and he's like, let's dance, which is so romantic.
Yeah,
like she's like, I've never danced, I've never done this.
Yeah,
which ends up kind of being a dick move, but he like picks, like they start dancing and stuff, and they hit the table.
Yeah, and break the little unicorn and make it into a normal horse. So it's no longer special; it's just a horse.
Which I do have to appreciate that she's a horse girl.
Yeah,
because that's a running theme.
Again, I like Laura.
Yeah,
Amanda can kick rocks.
Yeah,
hate that lady, but
her reaction to this.
it was a little bit heartbreaking because it's like the opposite of every, like, for our generation, it's the opposite of every back to school special where it's like, I am the unicorn. That would be the response. Or like, but she's like, nah, maybe I'll just be like a horse. I'll be a normal girl.
Yeah.
If this is what I get to trade for it, then I will be a normal girl if I get to dance with Jim and hang out. It's kind of sad.
It's very sad.
And it's so opposite of like what we come up with.
Oh no, like punky power all the way.
Yeah.
But there's this, so this all is going on. And again, it feels awkward, but yet romantic.
Yeah.
And then
he kisses her.
Which is a dick move.
Yeah. He's like, oops, I shouldn't have done that. No duh, sir.
That was, I can't even imagine what she was feeling in that moment. And then literally, he drops the bomb.
Yeah. Hey, I just kissed you. I shouldn't have done that because I have a girlfriend I'm marrying in June.
And it was just, it's like you could feel the air sucked out of the room.
Yeah.
Like just.
She handles it incredibly gracefully.
So amazingly. Like just so, I can't imagine that she wasn't shattered.
Yeah. I feel like my response would be very different. I'd be like, get the fuck out.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then the worst was like her mom almost immediately comes in like, oh my gosh, you know, like you need to come by more often. Like you should come by every single day and blah, blah, blah. Like planning out their future. And then he just is like, well, I gotta go.
Yeah, sorry, my girlfriend wouldn't like it if I came to your house every day, but I love your Southern hospitality. Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
Peace out. Gone.
I found myself being, and I actually, this is the one place I felt sort of in agreement with like Amanda, was she gets kind of mad at Tom. Yeah. And I also was mad at Tom. Brokey, like, homie, you have one job. If you're supposed to bring home I disagree with the premise, but if this is what you're going to do and you're going to bring home a boyfriend for your sister, double check he's fucking single.
Yes.
Like, I know at this point, I think this is where I realized just how mentally checked out Tom was. He did not care. One of my big like pet peeves is when somebody does a task and they do it poorly, but they still want to be congratulated for the fact that they actually.
That's a good one.
And that's, you know, like, but I was a good boy and I tried, and it wasn't like an actual real attempt. And that was what I felt like with Tom here, is that he did the absolute, not even the bare minimum.
No, he actually caused damage.
Yeah, he hurt his sister even worse. And left her basically alone. At this point, he hasn't paid the light bill. He's squirreled money away so he can become a merchant marine. He's basically walking the steps of his father, of just being like piecing out, which I totally kind of I get, but but at this point, it's one more reason like Laura is just collateral damage in all of this.
Yeah, this is just. I didn't like this part.
Yeah,
I thought it was great though. It's great writing. I love all.
No, it's the storytelling's insane, but.
But then, like, he and his mom kind of have it out.
Yeah.
And
I kind of was with like Amanda at that point.
Yeah. And he basically was like, she's like, walk out like your dad. And he's like, fine.
Yeah.
And he just walks out. And that's kind of it.
Yeah. And then Laura blows out a candle in the end of the play.
Well, I like that at the very end, he's kind of narrating, like, I just left. I went and did my own thing and blah, blah, blah. But everywhere I go, he started to see his sister.
Yeah.
And it was just like.
Well, so did you in the forward, they actually talk about this mirroring a huge chunk of like Tennessee Williams' life. And one of the things that happened that he really did have a big regret about was his sister was lobotomized.
Oh my gosh.
And so there's a certain, if you know that story, like it's even more tragic.
Yeah.
Because like Laura's not headed for something good. At this point, they have no money. This is not going to end well for her. He's gone. And so some of as an author, Tennessee Williams has had a lot of regret of not being able to step in and not have his sister be lobotomized. And I think that that's a little bit reflected here too. And that seems to be the forward writer's view too. And I think general consensus is that this is a lot of like Tennessee Williams processing his own grief and guilt over not being a better sibling. In some sense, he was Tom. He left and went and palled around.
I'm just having a flashback to watching the movie. And I just remember the sense I have is that because she blows the candles out at the very end, like that experience blew her lights out too. You know, like, and that innocence that she had and just that that small sliver of hope.
Yeah, that she could have a normal life and have the things she wanted and have love.
Well, and especially because the guy, the suitor, James, he says something to the fact like, oh, you're a homegirl, because they call them homegirls instead of like, I thought that was really cute.
Homebodies.
Instead of a homebody, homegirl. But he said, oh yeah, that's what my fiance is too.
Yeah.
Like kind of just being like, oh yeah, I would date a girl like you. Like there could have been something between us, but it's too late now.
Yeah.
And just how devastating that is, especially because it's probably, I can only imagine that felt like that was her last chance.
Yeah. And even like Amanda keeps reinforcing that fact.
Mm-hmm.
The mom keeps reinforcing that fact that we don't have a lot of options left. There's nothing left for Laura. Like she has to get married like right now because otherwise... She's
literally like
spoiled goods.
I loved it how she was saying like she's gonna be one of these mousy spinsters basically that gets shuttled off to different relatives' houses in little rooms.
I wrote on next to that, she would actually probably enjoy that.
Yeah.
She would probably like maybe chill, take care of some kids, hang out, go take them to the museum and the docks because that's like what she likes to do. Like Laura would actually, she paints this all the time as this like this is this sad existence that Laura is headed for. But like Laura actually, I think would have like enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm. It's funny how when they paint the picture of like I don't know spinsterhood, how like single cat ladies,
deal with any dudes, and I can go chill and like help out around the house. Cool. Love it. Well, I wouldn't want that.
No, but I always think it's interesting how people paint that picture. I mean, they're still doing it. Like, as a woman, you have no value unless you are supporting a man or contributing in some way
to a
system or something. So
childless cat lady is an insult. So.
It's an insult. Yes. It just, I don't know. The way it ended. I mean, I just loved. I didn't want it to end. It was so good. The storytelling was so great.
Yeah.
And I love that it's not wrapped up with a bow. Like I appreciate writers that let people imagine and interpret it. Anyway.
The writing is incredible. It is sad as shit though.
So sad.
Yeah.
But it is, I can't even describe like just some of the ways he puts words together. It's just delicious. And it paints such a picture. And actually in my head, like, I don't know why I went here. But like when he's going to the movies, I'm like, oh, he's meeting up with his own gentleman caller. Like that was my whole like, And like at first, like, is it because James is actually his boyfriend? But then I was just like, probably not. But
it turns out he's just like sat have a drink and watch a movie.
Yeah, but I was like, kind of the fantasy that he was going and having his own actual adventures, and he didn't. He was literally just in the movie theater. Yeah. Anywho, it was painfully good.
Yeah. It's the absolute, I think, definition of like a bittersweet. Yeah.
It was so good. I loved it. Loved it. And now I want to go watch the movie.
Yes.
I mean, not right now because I don't want to be depressed tonight.
No.
But I feel like it'd be a great movie to watch on like a lazy Sunday when it's just like a little gloomy outside and I need to like...
I don't know. You have to have something like happy lined up afterwards, I think.
Yeah.
One time we watched Children of Men on a gloomy Sunday.
Gosh.
Oh, it was the worst. And we were so depressed. Not even Taco Bell could cheer us up.
Oh yeah, that's real rough.
Yeah, so sad.
I'm so sorry.
It was terrible.
Okay. So what are you going to rate this?
Oh, I would definitely if I I'd let kids read that, not like kids, but I would definitely high school age. This is correct. I would rate it as probably 3 out of 3 hornless unicorn glass figurines.
That's really good.
I liked it.
I did too. I rated it 10 out of 10 stolen kisses.
Oh, God, that guy's a
dick.
turd.
But I don't know.
So's Amanda.
Yeah. But it was really good. So I encourage anybody to read it, listen to it, watch it.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan. I really love when plays are adapted into movies and they still feel like a play.
Yeah.
Like one of my recent ones that I really love was August in Osage County, I think it's
Osage County.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
With Meryl Streep and Julia. Oh my gosh, Julia Roberts. It's so good. And there's some of the monologues that happen in there. I will just fast forward through the movie and watch just the monologues because they're so powerful.
Yeah.
Just really good. Anyway.
It's a beautiful play. It is sad, but it is a beautiful play.
So anyway, Well, in a departure, next month in December, we're reading another one of mine. And it is a book that my mom would read to me when I was falling asleep. Like, so every night before bedtime, we had reading, we'd read a chapter or something. And it's called The Story of Holly and Ivy.
Yeah. I'm excited about this one. It looks cute. I
have not picked this book up for, how old am I? Probably like 38 years, maybe 40 years. No, it can't be that. I'm way younger than that. It's like 36 years I haven't read this book. So I'm very excited to see what it invokes.
Yeah. It looks good. It looks cute.
It'll be an upper compared to this, hopefully.
Yeah, it's a real damn downer. A good, a good one, a sweet downer, but a downer all the same. If you're enjoying Boozy Book Reports and would like to support the show, you can share episodes with your friends and family, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Boozy Book Reports, or leave us a positive review and rating. All of those things help us grow. Our theme music was created by the Finley Ghost. Check out their latest album now. Thank you and happy reading.